it's really hard to tell somebody about some of these things that I feel. I'm sure everyone kind of feels these things internally by themselves, but sometimes you feel there is progress before you can even demonstrate it. So you're doing an exercise for an exercise that you want to improve. You're doing this accessory exercise and you feel, when you go back to that original exercise that you want to improve, you feel like there's carryover. You feel like it's improving. And even though you can't prove it in terms of the numbers, you feel like you are moving better within that movement. You feel like you are more confident and so on and so on. And so this is what I'm feeling right now. So today I did deadlifts, and the whole time I was really paying close attention to how I felt off the floor. And I have to say, I'll be honest with you guys, I feel as though that I feel better. Even though I didn't deadlift a PR today or whatever, I didn't demonstrate, quantitatively. It was more of like a qualitative feel. It was a subjective feel. I feel as though the box squats that I've been doing for the last 2 weeks are carrying over really well for the deadlift. That's literally how I feel. Even though I can't tell you, this is what I did and this is the number that I got and this is responsible for that, I literally feel like there's something happening and it's making me feel more comfortable in the bottom position. And this is something that I've heard many guys talk about, the benefits of box squats being that it carries over really well to the deadlift. I feel as though that I'm feeling those effects. It's only been 2 weeks. Obviously, I'm not going to be, making huge changes, but it does feel a little easier to get off the ground because I'm constantly sitting on the box. I'm constantly battling with that position. And so now the deadlift is not so uncomfortable anymore like I remember it to be. That, it's been 2 weeks since I've last deadlifted, and that's also a factor in all of this. But I've also had, previously 2 weeks stretches where I haven't deadlifted and it didn't feel that good on the first day back. So I know what you're thinking. It's really hard to attribute one thing to another thing, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. I get it. And I don't really have any evidence for you at all. Like I can't say, look, I did this because of this or whatever, because how far do you want to go back in terms of the causes? Some things some things can be responsible for what you're seeing today, from 3 months ago, right? So when did I do last deficit deadlifts and all that? So is it the deficit deadlifts or is it the box squats? It's kind of getting tricky. However, what I'm trying to explain is the feeling. The feeling changes. And, this is something that, once again, I can't fully explain and prove because the numbers are not there. But I feel that if I continue to box squatting, I might be getting some sort of, real, evidence, real benefits on the deadlift. So I'm really excited about that. Even though yesterday I did those block pulls and I am sore. I'm sore mildly through that kind of mid back and more so the upper back. That's where I'm feeling the block pulls from yesterday. I wasn't expecting good performance on the deadlift today, but I really wanted to come in and try the deadlift to see how it feels. Not so much how much I can lift. I wasn't expecting to lift more than 200 to be honest today. But, I lifted 180, felt really good, put 220 on, that felt good. So I went up to 240 and even that felt pretty good. And I reckon I had more today in me. But I decided obviously to not go that far. I didn't want to strain with already fatigued posterior chain, upper back, all that stuff. But, the update so far is that these box squats are doing something really beneficial for me. They're challenging the hell out of me, Man, the first time I tried them, 60 kilos felt heavy. 100 kilos felt really, really heavy. And now I've slowly progressed. I feel like I'm adding weight or reps or sets every other day. Now I'm up to 150 kilos and I managed to hit 4 sets of 5 today. Previously, I only managed 2 sets of 5. So I'm slowly kind of creeping up. And so far, what I've been doing is when I get to 5 sets of 5, I increase the weight a little bit. So, when I get to 5 by 5 at 150, I'll go to 160 and try maybe get 1 set, or maybe a second set, depending on how the first set feels, or 5. That's how I've been progressing, and I feel like my body's slowly starting to acclimatize to that whole position on the 10-inch box. You don't feel strong doing the box squat. This is the weird thing. You actually feel weak. This is the thing. Like, you actually feel weak doing it. It doesn't feel good, but it seems to be carrying you over. So at least for the deadlift, that's the kind of update that I'm feeling right now. It's been 2 weeks since I've last deadlifted, so that's quite a long time. And that break in itself could be responsible for how I feel in the deadlift. Obviously, that's also a factor, but I feel like there's more to it. Because I've had times in the past, I have to say this, I've had times in the past where I've had 2-3 weeks off deadlifting, even longer. And when I come back to the deadlift, it didn't feel like it does today. So it's not just the rest. There has to be something more to it. So I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged the way it feels. I'm encouraged how it all kind of is coming together. And the anecdotal evidence, I can confirm that I feel like the box squats are easier to recover from than, the ATG free squats. I'm not getting sore adductors. I'm not getting sore anything really. It just goes to show you, I've been binging the hell out of the Westside Barbell podcast in recent, week or 2 weeks, ever since the box squats really. And, one of the things is they talk about is that it's much better for your recovery. It seems to me that whole stretch reflex has a really high cost associated with it. We all rely on it. Obviously, it's beneficial, and it's really important to train that as well, obviously. But it comes with a high cost because that bounce, that stretch, I reckon, does a lot of damage. Not bad damage, positive damage. And it kind of costs us a little bit. I don't know. So far, I feel like it's easy to recover from. And my hips are feeling really good. The only thing that I've found out is that I have to do ATG squats alongside the box squats. Otherwise, the knees start to feel a little bit, weird. That's the kind of explanation that I'm using. I know a lot of you guys have said that box squats make your knees feel good, which is the opposite to my experience. My experience is, man, ATG still feels better on the knees for me, man. Maybe it's a case of what you're used to or whatever. But for me, definitely my knees feel better when I do ATG squats. So today I didn't do any ATG squats, but definitely tomorrow I will be, just to make sure that my body doesn't forget what full range of motion feels like. I want to get stronger in that mid-range. Obviously, that's what box squats are teaching me. But I don't want to trade it in for, I want to trade away the strength that I have in the ATG. Obviously, I have to practice that. I have to, keep that up to date. But here it is. It's been out 2 weeks. I'm probably going to be sticking with these box squats for quite some time, especially if they're making my hips feel incredible. So this is something that I've definitely realized. The knees kind of feel a little bit iffy with box squats, but the hips feel amazing. They feel freaking amazing, and I can't get enough of that feeling. But the ATGs are better for the knees. But anyway. So the deadlift is feeling good. I'm feeling healthy. Everything's coming together nicely. This whole frame, a mindset of chasing the weaknesses with the wide bench, with the box squats, with the block pulls. I feel like I'm onto something here. Like I said in yesterday's video, I really feel like I'm putting the pieces to the puzzle. Last night after I made that video about, I made a wrong hypothesis about, what's weak on me, what range is weak. Now that I've kind of shifted that, mindset to that whole box squat, knee angle, hip angle region, I'm realizing that it's not in fact I'm weak off the floor. I'm actually weak in that mid range, and that I've got experience with that. The RDLs have done wonders for me at the start of this year. Wonders. I don't know if you guys recall, but I was doing 190 kilos on the back squat for a set of 5. That was freaking good squatting from me, man. I don't know. I really want to get back to that kind of level. So I even started thinking about last night after I posted that video. I started thinking maybe I can interchange the block pulls with the RDLs. I wouldn't mind going back to the RDLs again and pumping out, those reps, hitting the RDL and also hitting the block pulls. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards maybe the RDLs are a bit more easier on recovery because there's no that, breaking the inertia. Box squats and block pulls, you are literally breaking inertia every single rep you're doing. So that's kind of tough. But maybe that's where the magic is. Maybe that's where the whole magic is. Maybe that's what you got to do. One thing that I've heard Louis say though is that he wasn't a fan of RDLs. I haven't heard him explain that point. go deeper into that. But I've heard him say that he's not a fan of RDLs. All the things that he's done, all the freaking back exercises that he's done, he's not a fan of RDLs. So there you go. That's something to remember. If you respect him or not, that's somebody that's produced a lot of lifters, and he was a proper lifter himself, and he doesn't like RDLs. Not that he knows everything and everything there is to learn, but whenever somebody has such a polarizing opinion, it's worth a thought. I just wish I could find somewhere, where he explains why he doesn't like the RDL. But I know he's a massive fan of good mornings and rack pulls, block pulls, whatever you want it, but not RDLs, which is interesting. Maybe I'll try and do a bit of research to see why he doesn't like that. But some of these podcasts, they have no notes, they have no segments. So you literally have to sit through hours of podcasts to kind of hope to see what he actually means by all that. But anyway, good mornings are a good option as well. Maybe I'll go block pulls, good mornings, box squats. That's a pretty good setup as well. Anyway, guys, special thanks to everyone on the screen, everybody else on Patreon, Discord, Instagram, and obviously YouTube comments. Appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.